I'm just going to take a moment here to talk about our new obsession, which is London Nootropics adaptogenic coffee.
We found it in the studio. We started drinking it. We became obsessed with it. We brought it into our own homes and then we contacted the company.
We cold emailed them.
Because we loved it so much.
We loved it so much and we really wanted to work with them. All I can tell you is that every time I drink one of these coffees and I like the flow, it is like it just switches me on. I can do back-to-back shows. I can come home. I can do edits. I'm awake. I'm alive. I'm focused. I'm here. I'm in the room. It tastes delicious. I love this coffee.
Right, I like the Zen. That's my favourite blend. I have it with oat milk and a sweetener of, because I have to.
Yes.
It's a little bit of caffeine, but not too much caffeine. So you don't get the jitters and you don't get the crash. I just feel very calm. I feel very productive. And also, and can I just say this is the most important thing, it is yummy. This is what people ask, like, is it mushroomy? Doesn't it disgusting? Let me smell it. It's lovely.
And it's got all the good quality stuff in it.
And it's properly sourced.
Yes, it is properly sourced. So it's ethically sound. And it's got things like KSM 66 ashwagandha. I didn't know what that was, but apparently that's really good for you.
It's so good for you.
It's got lots of potent mushroom extracts and exclusively from Hephaestus, all with clinical studies. So basically, in layman's terms, what you are putting in your system is really good.
And tastes good.
And they have given us, to give you a 20% off code at londonnootropics.com, and all you have to write in, the code is self-care.
Go get yourself some, you won't regret it. Today's episode is sponsored by Promensil.
Promensil are leading experts in menopause support with a range of standardised red clover isoflavone supplements to help manage and give relief from the debilitating symptoms of menopause.
Red clover isoflavone is an option for women looking to trial a credible and scientifically studied natural alternative to HRT.
Backed by over 20 years of scientific research, Promensil is the most clinically studied menopause supplement on the market and is the only red clover-based supplement in the UK that has been clinically proven to reduce mild to moderate hot flashes and night sweats.
It's clinically formulated and available without prescription.
Available to shop at Boots, H&B and the Promensil website.
Get 30% off all products on the Promensil website using the code SCCLUB30. T's and C's apply.
This episode is sponsored by Welbeck, providing beyond better healthcare. Hello everyone, I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Laura Mishkon, and this is Self-Care Club. October, as we're sure that many of you are already aware, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is the most common cancer in women worldwide. About 1 in 7 women born after 1960 will be diagnosed in their lifetime.
Wow.
Yup. About 56,000 women are diagnosed every year. That is more than 150 a day. And about 400 men too, because yes, men can also get breast cancer. Most cases are in women over 50. Around 82% are diagnosed over 50 and 24% are 75 and older. It is very rare in the under 40s. Around 11,500 women and 85 men die of breast cancer in the UK annually. Nearly half the deaths are in people aged 75 and over.
But here's the hopeful part. 85% of breast cancers in women are diagnosed at stage 1 or 2, which means that they're still early and usually haven't spread heavily, and death rates have dropped by over 40% since the late 1970s.
Amazing.
That is amazing. So early detection is the magic here. Catch it at stage 1 and survival is around 95%. It's amazing. But that means you've got to go for your mammograms, clubbers. And if you're thinking, nah, don't worry, I'm going to skip it this time, just know that screening saves about 1,300 lives in England every year. So it is really worth the 5-minute squish.
It is. Other things that can really make a difference: lifestyle, exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, not overdoing the alcohol, and about a quarter of all cases could be prevented with these changes.
That's incredible. Okay, lecture is over for now, only for now. But, ladies and gents, check your boobs. And if you're not sure how, well, we have an expert in to walk you through, and we're going to talk about that a bit later on in the episode. But to discuss all this, we are joined by the wonderful Johanna Kelsey, who is a mammographer at Welbeck and who has joined us on the show before back in January 2024 and who we are delighted to have back again at the club. She remains the only guest in around 700 shows to have both seen and handled both of our breasts. Aren't you the lucky one, Johanna?
Yes, I didn't realise. It's an honour, it's a privilege, and it's unique to you and you only.
I'm saying nothing. Yeah. Keeping stum.
Please say nothing. I don't know if it's an honour, but it is what it is. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be back. Great.
So we're going to go through a few things. I mean, when we released this episode, it was released in October
last year.
So today we're going to go through mammograms briefly, but we have talked to you about this before. So clubbers, if you want a more in-depth chat about what you can expect in a mammogram, then please go back and check that episode. It was a year ago. We'll link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, because we both went for a mammogram, didn't we? And we talk about our experience blow by blow, squeeze by squish.
Yeah, squish by squish. But today we're going to talk about how to self-check your breasts, awareness, breast cancer awareness, what you should be aware of. And this is a special one for Lauren, needle biopsies.
Yeah.
Why have we chosen needle biopsies, Lauren? Tell the clubbers.
Well, because if something is not right and you need to go to the next step, that is often the next step. And I think, to me anyway, and I always think if things sound something to me that I'm not the only one, it sounds very scary. So I wanted to kind of talk to a professional about that and break it down so that if that is something you might be facing now or in the future, you kind of have the information to hand.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where do you want to begin?
I want to begin with awareness and self-checking.
Okay.
How often should people check their breasts, and what is the best way to do it?
So this is very much a question that we're asked a lot of the time, because a lot of our ladies come in and they just say, I don't know what I'm checking for. I don't know, what to feel, what's good and bad. And we always say the best person is yourself, because you just get to know your breast tissue. Do not do it every day. Otherwise you will be worrying, especially if you're still having your cycle, because your breasts are very menstrual related. So your breast tissue will be changing with your cycle. Some ladies have cysts which fill up pre-cycle, and then after cycle they can go down again. You might get a bit more glandular, before your period, and then you have your period, and then it sort of settles back down again. You get to know how your body is every month. So we do recommend a couple of times a month, same time each month.
Okay.
Some of our breast care nurses and breast surgeons actually say to ladies, put it into your phone to remind you, and a lot of ladies do, but it's just get into a routine. You will be the very first person and the best person to know if something is different. So if you're just checking in the shower, looking in the mirror, we're very good at looking down, but we're not very good at looking underneath our breasts. So, but if you're in the mirror, do silly star jumps, have a fun time in the bathroom, just sort of looking up, with your raised arms up. Get into that kind of nice routine. So it's not a task, it's just something that you're regularly checking. We always say check with flat fingers and check all around your breasts, because if you grip your breast tissue, you're creating lumps.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we have often had ladies who've panicked because they've done it incorrectly and they've created lumps in their breasts. But flat fingers, just rubbing it over your breast tissue up into your armpit, up into your neck, because you have lymph nodes all in a line from your armpits in your axilla up into your neck. And just check around the nipple. Tenderness tends not to be a concern of ours when we're doing, when people are coming with discomfort. Again, it's often a menstrual thing. So again, see if that wears off.
Okay.
But if you're feeling something that is new to you, just keep a check on it for a couple of days, a week or so, if you can manage that. Because if your period happens and then it disappears again, then it's normal for you.
Okay.
If that strangeness stays with you, then that's the time to come and get it assessed.
Okay.
Either by we can ultrasound you depending on your age, mammogram you again depending on your age, and obviously a breast surgeon if you do feel you need to.
Okay. I mean, I have to get checked all the time. I mean, I see Johanna regularly, don't I? Because with every mammogram I've had, I always have to have an ultrasound to have dense breast tissue. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then I did find a lump under my armpit, didn't I? And I left it for 2 weeks. I went to the GP. She said, how long have you had it? I said 2 weeks. She goes, give it another 2. If it hasn't gone, you're going to have to get it scanned. It didn't go. I had to go in, to the breast surgeon at One Welbeck. They were amazing. I had it scanned, and then I got called back, and then I had to have an MRI,
MRI scan, yes.
a breast MRI. That was really interesting. And you lie forward, your boobs go in the holes.
Yes.
And then I got called back again for another ultrasound, just to dot the I's and cross the T's for like an 18th time. And by that point, I was very calm about the whole thing.
You were very chill.
Until I had to go back for this third ultrasound, and I saw Johanna. Well, I actually don't know if I saw you. All I know is they sent you in.
Yes. She's here again. Send Johanna in.
She's in there and she's upset.
She's not coping. No. Someone get Johanna. I just lost it. I'd held it together for so long, and then I just panicked. And then when you come in with your lovely, kind face, I just broke down. And then it was so embarrassing because I was sitting in the waiting room basically crying my eyes out, and there was a woman in there that I looked like I'd just been told really bad news. I hadn't been told really good news. I couldn't stop crying. So yes, I have done all of those things, and I have to say that One Welbeck, they really looked after me.
And I think the thing that we can do at One Welbeck is we can do things quickly.
Yes.
Obviously depending on patients' availability and things like that, but we do a mammogram on the same day. We can do the ultrasound.
Yes.
As we were saying earlier, we can do a biopsy if we need to on the same day. Results will obviously take a few days to come through if we do need to do that biopsy, but we can do things quickly. We have availability of radiologists all the time. The MRI scan, hopefully you didn't have to wait too long for that.
Didn't.
And so we can offer that. And again, it's peace of mind. Like you're saying, you went through a terrible, slightly traumatic time, but at least
For quick days, it was over.
It wasn't weeks that you had to wait for reports, results. You got things through quickly.
I really did. So thank you for always being there when my time was coming. And I had good news, so
I pop up like a bad penny.
No, a good penny. Bad.
So I was like, she can't stop crying. Send Johanna.
I don't want to deal with her now. So just going back to the checking, because you were saying sometimes if you're about to get your period, you can be a bit lumpy, a bit tender. So would you say do your checking not the week before your period?
Yeah,
or during your period?
We say perhaps about 10 days after your period, so almost mid-cycle. So and then ladies come to us and they say, "Oh, I'm generally lumpy."
Right.
So get to know what are your good lumps, what's normal for you. People will you may get again a little bit more lumpy before your period. It's but if you've got, for example, if we've diagnosed a fibroadenoma, which is a friendly lump, just keep a check on that. Make sure it's not changing. Make sure it's not becoming painful. Make sure it's not moving. Make sure it's not growing. If that kind of thing.
Okay. What counts as a lump to you as a professional?
Something that's solid. Something that's not. It's almost, the worrying ones are when they're fixed. Cysts can often be a little bit mobile. The old-fashioned term, breast surgeons used to call them friendly mice, breast mice, because they move around.
That's good to know,
but cysts can move around.
Okay.
And again, if they get filled up, so cysts are fluid filled, they can move around. Cysts, if you've got quite a few cysts in your breast, they're bashing together. You can imagine if they're bashing together in a small space, so that can be uncomfortable for you. Again, have it, we can scan you, we can mammogram you, an aspiration, a needle test of a cyst to remove any of that fluid to make it a bit more comfortable. But very often we leave cysts alone. We just see them, we diagnose them. And again, if the lady has a period, those cysts tends to sort of disappear. So they do tend to sort of fluctuate. But something that is concerning is something that is fixed. Generally not painful. A cyst can be uncomfortable.
And what size? What size could they
Any
be?
size.
Like
Pea size.
Grape size.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pea size is when we want to, the smaller we can find it and diagnose it and see it, the better, as we were saying earlier, for your, for sort of the lifespan. But something's bigger, that's worrying, because we could have caught it earlier if the lady had come for screening earlier and that sort of thing. We want to find those ladies before it becomes that. And we call those bigger lumps that are what we call palpable. You can feel them and you can see them. That's when we should have hopefully diagnosed it sooner, and then it wouldn't have got to that stage. So we want to see those ladies before it gets to a symptomatic stage.
So I think what you're saying is getting to know your breasts is absolutely imperative.
Absolutely, yeah. Even 20-year-olds, honestly, just what's normal for you. Unfortunately, as you do get older with menopause coming and things like that, every month you will begin to feel different pains. The left side might feel heavier and uncomfortable. We
the joy.
Yeah.
something
Doesn't
to
it?
look
What doesn't
forward
it give?
to.
But it gives you different pains everywhere.
But something one month it'll be like, oh, it's the left breast, and then the next
Yeah.
month it'll be, oh, it's the right breast. It
Yeah.
hurts when I put my bra on or
Yes.
take my bra
Yes.
off.
Yes.
And this is all we're
Yes.
hearing all
All
the
of
time.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
But unfortunately, things will change. But if you can just be so aware of what is normal for you, honestly, keep a diary as well. Some ladies do, but
A booby
yeah.
diary. Another task to do.
Something else.
Haven't got enough, am I? What apart from lumps should women be looking out for? Because it's not always just lumps, is it?
No, it's sort of itchiness. You can get a rash on your nipple. You can get discharge, any kind of discharge. Milky discharge is if you're breastfeeding. That's nice, clear milk, that sort of creamy discharge. But if it's anything that's dark brown or obviously fresh red, that's worrying because
Yeah.
it's blood that's inside. Any puckering, so when you're doing your self-checks and you're doing your silly star jumps in your bathroom in front of the mirror, anything that is pulling that breast tissue in,
Okay.
so something is happening inside your breast that's pulling that's what a breast cancer does, it pulls in your natural tissue.
Okay.
So you'll see the skin look odd.
Okay.
Some ladies with implants get that very hotness, get like an infection. So they may have a fluid around the implant that, although it's not a cancer, but that again is concerning and worrying. So we need to see those ladies. So again, checking your implants as well is really important if you've got them. Must do
Can you do
mammograms.
that at the same time? Actually, someone asked, why can you not check breast implants at the same time as you do a mammogram? Or can you?
You can, yes.
Can,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Even on the NHS, they would do that.
They should, yes, they should
Okay.
do, yes, yeah. So we do. So one Welbeck is we do the ultrasound on implants. We
Okay.
recommend an ultrasound, and ladies can again self-refer for the mammogram. If you have implants, we very much recommend that you have an ultrasound as well. So the mammogram
Okay.
is always the gold standard for breast imaging if you're 40 and above, looking at all of the breast tissue. Things will show up on the mammogram that do not show up on the ultrasound. So that's what we want to see in the breast tissue. And having an ultrasound after you've had your mammogram with ladies with implants is a good way at looking at the structure of the implant as well, because what we want to keep a check on is the breast tissue as well, but we also want to keep a check on the actual casing of the implant to make sure that nothing has happened to, sometimes if
Okay.
there's a rupture or something like that, and silicon hasn't migrated into the lymph nodes. So on an ultrasound we can look very closely into the armpit, into the axilla, with an ultrasound probe.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, we do get a lot of ladies who are told that they do not need mammograms because they have implants, and please debunk that myth.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
really, we do need
Okay.
to still, yeah.
That's good
Okay.
to know.
That is, why would people say that?
I think it's because they're worried about the compression, but because you've got the implant, we can't compress as we would do on a lady without implants,
Yeah.
but we still need to see that natural breast tissue because calcifications show up on mammograms which do not show up on the ultrasound because sound waves don't see calcifications, whereas
okay.
X-rays do. And calcifications can be the beginning of a tiny breast cancer. So again, like we were saying earlier, catch it when it's tiny, it won't have spread, we can treat it, it's a grade 1 possibly, and ladies are treated and come out of it the other way much, much healthier.
Is the advice the same for men with mammograms?
We can do mammograms, yes, and it's again, generally gentlemen present with a lump. So obviously because they do not have screening mammograms,
Yes.
but
Yes.
unfortunately the men that we do see already have symptoms and they have a lump,
Right.
which is quite sad because it's another, they're coming into like a woman's environment.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you've also got that psychological side of things as well, which is all quite, shame for them. But we have seen several, but also at Welbeck, we do a lot of things that aren't cancer for men. We check lymph nodes. We check, gentleman the other day had skin problems. So he had dilated lymph nodes, which we can ultrasound as well in the breast unit. So it's in that same
Okay.
part of the anatomy. So
How does family history affect breast cancer risks? I'm just going to take a moment here to talk about our new obsession, which is London Nootropics adaptogenic coffee.
We found it in the studio. We started drinking it. We became obsessed with it. we brought it into our own homes, and then we contacted the company.
We cold emailed them.
Because we loved it so much.
We loved it so much and we really wanted to work with them. All I can tell you is that every time I drink one of these coffees and I like the flow, it is like, it just switches me on. I can do back-to-back shows. I can come home. I can do edits. I'm awake. I'm alive. I'm focused. I'm here. I'm in the room. It tastes delicious. I love this coffee.
Right, I like the Zen. That's my favourite blend. I have it with oat milk and a sweetener of, because I have to.
Yes.
It's a little bit of caffeine, but not too much caffeine, so you don't get the jitters and you don't get the crash. I just feel very calm. I feel very productive. And also, and can I just say this is the most important thing? It is yummy. This is what people ask, like, is it mushroomy? Does it taste disgusting? Let me smell it. It's lovely.
And it's got all the good quality stuff in it.
And it's properly sourced.
Yes, it is properly sourced. So it's ethically sound. And it's got things like KSM 66 ashwagandha. I didn't know what that was, but apparently that's really good for you.
It's so good for you.
It's got lots of potent mushroom extracts and exclusively from Hephaestus, all with clinical studies. So basically, in layman's terms, what you are putting in your system is really good.
And tastes good.
And they have given us, to give you, a 20% off code at londonnootropics.com, and all you have to write in, the code is self-care.
Go get yourself some, you won't regret it.
If you've shopped online, chances are you've bought from a business powered by Shopify. You know that purple Shop Pay button you see at checkout? The one that makes buying so incredibly easy? That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes it incredibly easy to start and run your business. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/promo. Go to shopify.com/promo.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
How does family history affect breast cancer risks?
So it's, yes, if you have very much a maternal aspect, maternal and paternal, which we very often see in the gentlemen as well who have breast cancer, if they've got a strong family history of the maternal, paternal side. But maternal, mum, sister, auntie, that's obviously very strong. So we put you into the pathway of, you would have your screening mammograms, you'd have the breast ultrasound, but we'd also put you into the pathway of one of our breast surgeons who specialise in looking after you. They know the further tests, they probably guide you into genetics testing. They may recommend having having MRIs as well as having a mammogram and an ultrasound, very much regular mammograms, yearly if you have that strong family history. But at least if you're on the pathway and being looked after by the breast surgeon as well, if you get that awful result, then you're with that person to know what's the next steps are.
Yeah.
You're not sort of in this wildness of what do I do now? I've got these results. Who do I turn to? What's the next step sort of thing?
Yeah.
So
You already know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so treatable, isn't it? The early detection
Again,
is
earlier.
so key.
Yeah. No, we see a lot of ladies who come just for their mammograms because of family history, because they're on HRT, because they've got dense breast tissue. So all of that, we would very much recommend a screening every year and have an ultrasound as well. That may be enough, but if that lady has very, very dense breast tissue and wishes to do the genetic pathway, then again, we've got the team at Welbeck who we can, the breast surgeons who we can feed them into, who'd look after them as well.
Amazing.
What's the most important thing that women in their 40s often don't know about breast health that they should know?
that a mammogram is available.
Okay.
That's my, you know me, I'm absolutely passionate about getting the message out there that they can have mammograms. I hear so many times, if I'm in a shop or something and I hear these little old ladies saying, oh, I'm not ready for my mammogram yet because I'm not 50, or I'm now 70 so I don't need a mammogram anymore, because the NHS, obviously the NHS do a brilliant job of, that's where I came from, but it's only every 3 years, and it's when you're 50 they start, just because of numbers, because of technology, because of costing. But obviously from 40 upwards, many private centres, that's what we promote, is you have this availability, please come and get checked. You can self-refer. Again, it's this, a lot of ladies think that they have to go and see their GP, they have to be seen by a specialist. Again, at Welbeck we want to debunk that. You can walk in and say, I'm 40, can I have a mammogram? And that's where we find things. If we do find something, like we were saying, we've seen it, we can capture it, we can deal with it, and then move on.
Okay.
It's true, isn't it? I think probably cost of it probably puts a lot of women off, I would say.
Yes.
But then if you find something, suddenly you don't care about the few £100s that it's going to cost you, because you're just so grateful that...
Yeah. And I'm very much into
life.
Body language. Yes, exactly. It's life-saving having a mammogram. And I mean, I did a lady a couple of weeks ago. I saw her. I love body language. I saw her in the waiting area. I could tell immediately she'd never had a mammogram before. She was visibly shaking. I walked her, the little waiting area. So I walked her.
Waiting area.
I walked her into the mammogram room. Really sat with her. Sort of talked her through what we do. Showed her the machine. Told her why we do it. How we do it. All this sort of business, and showed her the compression. She was still visibly shaking. We did the first few, absolutely fine. And it was just that moment of, oh, is that all it is? I'm fine now. I've waited 6 years to have this done.
Oh, it's the unknown.
Exactly, yes. But she'd obviously heard all these rumours and horror stories, and she was almost skipping as she left to say, I'm going to tell everybody. Yes, obviously I promote One Welbeck, but she can now go and tell everybody that you can have a mammogram.
And it really
sometimes,
is okay.
well, yes, exactly. And some spouses...
Even Lauren doesn't mind.
I don't care. I just call it like boob in a panini machine. That is basically what it is. It is really no worse than that. It's
and
a
it is
few minutes of a
exactly,
squish.
yeah. And I think a lot of ladies think they envisage this. You're going to be squished for ages. I'm going to go off for a cup of coffee and forget about you and come back. And
it's quick.
It's that moment of the release, and it's just. I always say to the ladies, it's teamwork. In the next 5 minutes, we're a team. I've got to get good diagnostic pictures of you. If you don't understand why I'm doing it, then, I'm not doing my job properly if you don't understand the necessity. And then that's when we get good pictures and, hopefully diagnostics. And so many of them are absolutely fine, which is the lovely thing. It's those odd ones that obviously but then at least they're in the right place and they're very thankful that we've found it, and we can put them into the NHS pathway if they have concerns of can't get insurance. But there are a lot of ladies who don't realise that they have spousal cover with their husband's work or something like that. So there are a lot of ladies who go and find they have insurance cover for anything
That's very
further is necessary.
And I will say about One Welbeck, where it is really incredible, because before we discovered One Welbeck, I went somewhere else for my mammogram, and I always have to have an ultrasound, as I just said. So I was then called back to have the ultrasound, and I had to wait like 5 days. And because I didn't know how it all worked at that point, I was quite scared for 5 days. Now I understand. But when you are at One Welbeck and you have your mammogram, they want you to have an ultrasound, you have it immediately.
Straight away, yes.
You're there. They don't make you go away, and you get the results immediately. Even as is it sonographer? Is that what
the
it's
radiologist?
called? The radiologist.
So does,
even as he's doing it, he's talking you through it, saying, this all looks fine. Please turn over. Please do this. This all looks fine. So you are finding out in real time.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
and
no
we
wait.
always, So obviously when we opened up, I had only a couple of sessions covered with radiologists, but now I have every day of the week. We're doing some evening sessions as well. Male and female radiologists, so you have a choice if you're not sure, but we've always got female chaperones in the room, so it's, some ladies are like, I don't care. But you've got that choice.
Especially once you've had kids, you no longer care.
You know what? I don't really care. But actually, the last time I was there, and I was really nervous, and there was a female chaperone there, and I had a male radiographer. I don't know why I can't remember that. And he was lovely. But there was something very comforting about having another woman in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, always. We
And
always
I can't
have.
really define why, but
No.
I needed a woman in there.
Yeah, and that's always available.
Yeah.
But it's for me as well, doing it all on the same visit. So you've got the specialists are the ones who are telling you that hopefully everything is okay. If I was to call you back after we'd seen something on your mammogram, and like you say, you have to wait 5 days, I really don't want to be the one to call you and say, "Hi, it's Johanna. Really sorry, but you need an ultrasound."
Yeah.
And then, because I know what panic you're going to be going through,
Yeah.
and say, "We can't see you this week, but how about next Tuesday?" And that I don't want to be the one making that phone call either, because I can fully imagine you're going to go onto Google, you're going to go down that rabbit hole of all sorts of things. So when it is literally just something that can be done 10, 15 minutes, and that's what we're really trying to promote for those ladies who come for their very first screening as well, is to have a mammogram and an ultrasound, because then you don't need to have ultrasounds further forwards. Generally, the younger ladies do still have dense breast tissue. I think I explained last time, as you get older, generally your breast tissue gets less dense.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I thought it was the other way
But
around.
HRT, I think, makes it more dense.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it
It's
can
the
keep
estrogen,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah. So if you've got dense breast tissue, that having that HRT, yes, keeping you younger, isn't it? That's what it's meant to do. So it keeps that tissue. Yeah.
Yeah, so your dense breasts are just young breasts.
I thought
Think of them that way.
I am now. Thank you. I am now. And also, I am aware, and putting this out to other people, that when I have a mammogram, I have to have an ultrasound, and it's also very likely that I will then have to have an MRI. So those 3 things are very likely they're going to come together for me once a year.
Yeah.
So it's worth telling other people that actually that's a reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that
Something
there is
is
something
wrong.
is
Yes,
wrong.
exactly. And we say that to all of our ladies. So as you say, a lot of our returning ladies, which for me is so lovely because they're now coming back, they're bringing their friends, they're bringing groups of friends, they're bringing their mum and that sort of thing, which is
Hen
lovely.
night vibes.
Oh, what fun.
But they're coming back and they're booking for their ultrasounds because that's what they had last time.
Yeah.
But also those first time ladies, I'm sitting there saying to them, once we've done the examination and all that sort of thing, please don't worry if he recommends an ultrasound. It's not that he's seen anything, but it's just, having a different modality using sound waves to look through that dense tissue. And you can see the relaxing on their, on their face. Whereas if we went out and said, right, come on, ultrasound now.
Yeah.
You panic.
Why?
something's
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
of
exactly.
course.
So we try and sort of alleviate all that.
And everyone's
but,
unique.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. Everybody's
I
different.
do not have a dense breast. So I obviously have old boobs. What can I say?
You're also not on HRT.
I'm not.
So that would be why.
A question that came in from a listener. Are big busted women more likely to be misdiagnosed on a mammogram?
No, if they're...
Question.
That's very interesting, yes. But as long as all of their breast tissue is imaged correctly,
Okay.
The issue may be that if the mammogram, their breast isn't positioned properly on the mammogram, some of that image may be missed, but the very good mammographer should be able to see that. But no, that is a very good question. And yes, we try and ensure that we almost do what we call parts of the breast. So for a smaller lady, obviously it's just one view, one squish. But for the larger breasted ladies, we often do sort of sections of the breast to
I'm not
encompass.
Wish I could have sections. Not blessed enough to have sections of the breast.
What are you talking about? You don't have small boobs.
They're not. They don't need sectioning on a mammogram. It's a one panini,
One and done.
It's a one panini squish.
But that is a very good question. But again, you want to come to a place where we have time to be able to go through, obviously, again, the NHS, which I love. That's where I came from. But they have 7-minute appointments for the screening.
Oh,
that's
short.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Welbeck and a lot of other private places, but Welbeck generally, we have at least sort of 15, 20 minutes with our ladies so we can take time with them and ensure that we get the correct positioning. And also the radiologist, like we were just saying, is there with you looking at those mammograms. So they would be able to say, actually, hang on, I think I'm missing this part. Can you, so we would do again if we needed to. So it's all assessed.
And for women that are worried that it is very painful or very uncomfortable, is there anything that you can do yourself to make it more comfortable for you?
We try and say, some ladies we say take paracetamol sort of an hour or so before you come to try and alleviate it. I think in my many years of doing it, I've probably only seen 2 ladies who have been in excruciating pain having the mammogram. It's just because of their
sensitive.
Yes,
breast
incredibly
tissue.
sensitive.
Okay.
It was the wrong time of the month for them. They had incredibly dense breast tissue as well. But sometimes sometimes paracetamol may sort of, make it slightly easier for them.
Okay. I mean, I'm the biggest baby around, but I definitely would not take a paracetamol before. It's not painful. It's not. It's not.
It's
okay.
not painful. It's a squeeze.
It's a bit uncomfortable.
But also, before my periods,
Yeah.
my boobs can be so sensitive.
No, same. But I would never book a mammogram for them.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah. And
sometimes
again,
you
try
don't
and try and work it around so it's
Yeah.
it's not if it's purely for screening.
Someone else asked, are the advances in AI as wonderful as the media would have you believe? And if so, when is it likely to be readily available to assist in early diagnosis?
We actually have AI on because we do 3D mammography
Right.
at Welbeck, so we have AI reading our 3D images. And when we set up, we were the only place in the UK that had AI reading tomosynthesis images.
Wow.
So it is amazing from a radiographer point of view, but our radiologists are the experts. I mean, they're world renowned, some of them. So the AI is brilliant because it does circle, it sort of highlights areas that need to be looked at a slightly bit better, and perhaps another mammogram, or like we were saying earlier, an ultrasound. But sometimes AI does pick up a complete benign looking area that is concerning, because the radiologist, if they were less experienced, may focus on that area, which is absolutely benign and doesn't need further examination, as opposed to might be missing something else. So it is amazing, but I still think AI is going to be almost what we call the second read. So the human eye is still going to be the first read, which is the radiologist. And then having that, what we call the second read, having the AI to look at it. In a NHS setting, it may be advantageous because obviously the radiologist, you can imagine all those NHS ladies who go for their, NHS screening mammogram, the radiologists who sit and they look through hundreds a day of mammograms, and you can imagine tired eyes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
As much as they're fantastic, but everybody gets tired, don't
human
they? After,
beings.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So AI would be good in that, as almost to say, hey guys, you've missed something here.
Yeah.
But yes, we do have it with us at Welbeck.
Well, it's working with it.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't it?
Not using it alone at the moment,
Yeah.
I don't think is.
It's probably not as sophisticated enough yet.
Not yet. Yes. Yeah. But it is, and every week there's something. Something changing and adaptations.
So if you've had your mammogram and something's shown up, and you've had ultrasound and maybe an MRI, and you're still not happy with what you're seeing, what might happen next?
So we could refer you into our breast surgeon,
Right.
who would be the one to follow you through, possibly see what your concerns are. If it's because you're feeling something, but everything that we possibly could have done has been done. So really, they've had you've had the mammogram, you've had the ultrasound, you've had the MRI scan. If the surgeon has had a clinical check of you as well and they're not concerned, or if they are concerned, then they would probably say have a follow-up ultrasound in a month's time or something like that. Wait for your cycle, depending on the age of the patient. But if there was that concerns, there would be somebody, the breast surgeons are amazing, especially some of the ones that we have at Welbeck, and they would be looking after you and following you up. There could be blood tests that can be done.
Okay.
Again, genetic testing can be done as well if that's that sort of family history kind of concerns, because you do get ladies with family history who they're absolutely fine, but because of what they've been through with their mum or their sister or something like that, they're just so so worried, paranoid, that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we're trying to allay those fears, but the breast surgeons would be the ones to follow it through.
And if it has to go to a biopsy, is that also done there and then?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Again, we you have to have consent of the patient, but very often the patients are like, yes, I want it done now. Money-wise, unfortunately, we obviously have self-pay costings, but again, we were saying about insurance. We can get insurance. A lot of patients do have insurance, even though they don't realise. But often the paperwork, the signing of the consent form, the going through the risks, the going through everything takes much longer than a biopsy.
Okay, good
so
to know.
You can be literally scanning.
Yeah.
We know the radiologist so well that we know what kind of questions or how they're looking at the screen, that we've seen something that they're not, they're concerned about. So we in the background can almost be setting up the sterile trolley And then the radiologist will say, we need to look at this in a little bit more. We need to take a tissue sample. Obviously, the poor patient is, oh my goodness, all sorts of worried thoughts. But generally, we can do a biopsy within 3-4 minutes. The setup is
amazing.
that. Okay. If it's ultrasound guided, because literally the radiologist has the probe over that area that they're concerned about. A little bit of local anaesthetic goes in, which often is the more uncomfortable because it's almost like a bee sting.
Yes.
That's a very fine needle. Anaesthetic goes in, numbs the area that we're interested in. We can't anaesthetise the whole area because that would be silly, but just literally want to anaesthetise the area that we're interested in. The needle is metal, and the metal shows up on the ultrasound probe. So the needle is constantly being monitored. The radiologist is seeing where they are injecting. And then once we wait a few minutes for the anaesthetic to work, patient is fine, and then a biopsy is done with, again, the needle is metal, so the needle goes into the lesion that they're interested in. Using the ultrasound probe, you can see this white line going through the lesion on the ultrasound screen. Radiologist is happy that they've collected a few samples, so we might do a few tissue samples just so that we've got enough to go to the laboratory, because you don't want one sample, send it to the laboratory, 3 days later they say there's not enough sample, can you do it again? And this poor lady has to come back. So you usually do 2 or 3 samples to make sure we've got a good enough collection of the tissue, and then done.
Okay.
The longest bit is, like I say, doing the consent forms, checking the patient's okay with the costing, and then we press on you for a very long time because you can be quite bruised. We want to stop the bleeding.
Right.
And we also want to stop the bruising, because sometimes the bleeding internally can cause bruising, which might be uncomfortable after the anaesthetic's worn off. So,
could you just drive home afterwards and go back to work?
You might begin to get a bit sort of toothache when the anaesthetic wears off, but we always say again it's paracetamol. But we like to keep you for sort of half an hour or so afterwards. A cup of tea, nice biscuit or something, just so that the colour of your face comes back to normal again. But like I say, we don't push you out. It's not a conveyor belt. We just make sure you're okay. We make sure you're not bleeding. We put a dressing on. We give you advice on how to look after you. And we do this a lot. Obviously, our radiologists do it an awful lot because they're practicing in the NHS as well. But we do this for fibroadenomas. So if it's the first time that we've seen this lady and there's a fibroadenoma, that the radiologist is absolutely 95% sure that it's a fibroadenoma from what they're looking at. So it's just a collection of cells in the non-cancerous cells, benign cells in the breast, which can form a lump. You may feel it, but again, you can see it on the ultrasound as well, and you might be able to see it on the mammogram. But if it's something that is the first time that we've seen it, or it's been seen, again, if it's the first time a lady's ever had a mammogram and a breast ultrasound, we need to be able to fully determine what it is. So in 5 years' time, we don't say, it was a fibroadenoma, but actually it's come back as something else and it's spread and da-da-da. But we do this a lot for benign lesions, and wonderfully so. It comes back a few days later from the laboratories and it's what we call benign.
So you wouldn't have an immediate result from a needle biopsy?
We take it. We've got a fantastic laboratories just around the corner on Harley Street. They sample it, and it's usually within 48 hours the results are back. So, which is still not brilliant because you're worried.
Hours is all right. Does it scar? Do you get a scar?
It's a tiny little nick in the skin, so it shouldn't do. So we, amazing steri strips go over the wound, and again pressing on it and healing it up as quickly as possible shouldn't be.
So would you say that often when a woman has to have a biopsy, it comes back with good news?
Yes, okay. Yeah.
That's good to know, isn't it?
That really is good to know.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, in my mind anyway, I'm like, that's bad news. You've got to have that. That's going to be something bad.
Yeah. Well, because there's so many stages, isn't there? There's a mammogram, there's the ultrasound, there's the MRI, and now you've got to go to the biopsy. You're thinking, it's not going to be fourth time lucky. That's kind of where your mind goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's not the case.
No. And again, because at Welbeck we're seeing a lot of first-time ladies as well, which is great. We're still getting those new patients coming through. They're 40, or even the younger ones who just want, they've had family history or something. That's always the family history lady. You've got a lump, we need to biopsy, and you can just imagine all these thoughts going through your head. But again, as we said earlier, we can do things quickly at Welbeck. We can offer it then and there, and again, the results take a little bit of time, but generally the radiologists have their such expertise that they will be able to say, I'm not concerned, but just to make 120% sure.
Yeah.
We need to make sure
It's
it sits there.
It really is great.
Yeah.
They're not just 100% sure, it's the 120%.
Yeah. Because, like we say, you'd hate to be that one that, it's a fibroadenoma, but
You don't want to slip under the radar when it comes to these things. You need to know.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think a woman should know, needs to know through this episode, Johanna?
Just like we were saying, I think this has all been really useful about the self-examination, checks, what to check for, what to look out for. But again, it's the availability of wonderfully so if you can afford it. I know it's that. Come for your mammograms. You can have them when you're 40. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't.
Yes.
You can have an ultrasound under the age of 40. Again, don't let anybody say that you can't. Don't need to go through your GP. If purely screening, if you're symptomatic, then obviously that's different. We would put you into the pathway of one of our consultant surgeons. But again, you'd have all the testing on the same visit. But for screening, we can see you at one Welbeck. You can self-refer, and just keep those checks up. And we obviously recommend how often you have your screening. We're a recommendation. So if you're dense breast tissue, 40 and over, if you're dense breast tissue, if you have family history, then we would very much recommend every year. But every 18 months is a good time frame.
Okay.
And then once you get into the NHS, what a lot of ladies are doing is having their free NHS ones, which is brilliant, but having one in the middle in a private setting, wherever that is.
Good idea.
And then keeping all of your images together if you can. So obviously we're seeing our lovely ladies coming back, so we've got all of their history so we can compare against time. So for example, if we did a fibroadenoma biopsy 3 years ago, this year we're going to check the lady again and make sure that fibroadenoma hasn't moved or changed or anything like that. So it's that monitoring and keeping all of your images in the same place. So keeping a log of where you have your mammograms done.
Okay.
Advocate for your health.
Really, it's preventative health.
And it's only half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's done.
And it really is preventative health, which is how we should all be approaching our healthcare, right?
Yeah.
And can I just say about One Welbeck, it is the loveliest. We've said this many times before. It is the most beautiful clinic, isn't it? You really feel like you're somewhere luxe.
Just go for the coffee.
Just go for the coffee and the biscuit.
We are very lucky with our coffee
Everyone
machines, I have
really
to
looks
say.
after you. It's very, very close to Bond Street Tube Station. I mean, it's so easy to get to.
Yeah, it is.
And it couldn't be easier. It really couldn't. Thank you for looking after me, Johanna.
No, that's absolutely my pleasure. It's easily done.
We will meet again, I'm sure.
Yeah, for
I
your
might not
annual
be so
check.
hysterical.
We should all meet again. Us, our breasts.
I won't be hysterical next time. I'm going to try my very best.
Bring a box of tissues.
Thank you for coming back.
No, my pleasure.
And
Been
bringing your
brilliant. Thank you.
expertise to the club. We really appreciate you
No,
being here.
thank you. Anytime. Thank you.